Good evening. It is, what day is it? It is Thursday, December 14th, 7 o'clock. It is time for our last regularly scheduled meeting of the year. Hopefully, we do not need to have another meeting. So we will start the meeting with the prayer and the pledge. And this evening, we have Pastor Albert Salidas. Please stand.
Will you pray with me? Gracious God, Heavenly Father, you are the giver of all good gifts. And tonight we thank you for the greatest gift of all, your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, whom you sent to save us from our sins. We pray, Lord, that all the gifts that we give in this Christmas season may be a reflection of the thanksgiving and the gift that you have given to us. Lord, bless the leaders of Tallmadge, the city council, and the leaders that make decisions behind the scenes. We pray, Lord, for your spirit to be upon them, that in their discussions, in their meeting, in their planning, that you may be a part of it, and that you may bless all that they say and do. Lord, this season we pray for those who maybe it's hard. They're suffering, there's grief, there's not a lot to be joyful for. We pray, O Lord, that each one of us, as we have opportunity to be generous, to show kindness, to give to those who don't have, that we may be able to do that. Thank you, God, for all the gifts you give. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Andy, and also thank you to the Ministerial Association for what you guys provide. At this time, please remain standing for the pledge. And we have this evening Mariah Dent, a fifth grader at Tallmadge Elementary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to item 3, roll call. Mrs. Burton.
Becky Allman.
Here.
Jonathan Bolles.
Here.
Adam Bozick.
Here.
Mary Gutman.
Here.
Carol Kilway.
Here.
Dennis Lowry.
Here.
Craig Ciesick.
Here.
Thank you. We are all in attendance this evening. Item 4, correcting and adopting the previous meeting minutes of November 9th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ciesick, second by Mrs. Kilway. Any discussion on those minutes? Hearing none. Mrs. Burton?
Jonathan Bolles.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Minutes are adopted 7-0. Financial reports. Fire and EMS fund transfer in the amount of $137,500. Street maintenance and repair fund transfer in the amount of $161,500 from the general fund to council on 11/28/23. Appropriation report, fund report, and revenue report for the period ending 10/30/23 to council on 12/5/23. November financial reports to council on 12/5/23. Tallmadge Recreation Center profit and loss report for the period ending 11/30/23 to council on 12/5/23. Income tax comparisons for the period ending 11/30/23 to council on 12/5/23. Consolidated investment portfolio for the period ending 11/30/23 to council on 12/5/23. Income tax by source report for the month of November to council on 12/5/23. And the revenue comparisons for major funds for the period ending 11/30/23 to council on 12/5/23. Before I ask for a motion, I have a question. Mrs. Raber, I guess, since Mrs. Gilbride's not here this evening. And the appropriation report, the second one, it says that was for the period ending 10/30/2023. Was that a typo? Should that be 11/30/23? Mrs. Burton feels that it probably should be 11/30/23, so let's make that correction. Mrs.
No.
Kilway?
It does say when you open up the appropriation report, it does say November of 2023. So.
Perfect, thank you
So
very
the
much.
typographical error is just on the agenda and not on the thing. You don't have to do
Got it,
anything.
okay, so I will entertain a motion to accept these financial reports as provided.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cisak and Mrs. Kilway. Any discussion on the financial reports? Mrs. Burton?
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Financial reports are adopted as received. Item 6, public hearings. At this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Bolus. Excuse me. Yeah, Mr. Bolus. Or Planning and Zoning. I'm sorry, Ms. Kilway.
Has been for a year now.
That
2 years
was
now.
a mistake.
That's
I
okay.
promise you.
Okay, so it is now 7:06, and I'm going to open the public hearing for ordinance 2023-86. It is amending and supplementing sections 1110.02, minor subdivision, and Appendix A for the Tallmadge codified ordinances. We do have two exhibits with this as well. We've had a lot of discussion on this already. It's basically just a rewrite in order for clarification. So at this time, I will open it up to anyone in the public that has anything that would like to have any discussion on this in favor of ordinance 2023-86. Okay, does anyone have any discussion against ordinance 2023-86? Second time, any discussion in favor of ordinance 2023-86? And second time, any discussion against ordinance 2023-86? Third and final time, is there anyone in the audience that has any discussion in favor of or against ordinance 2023-86? Okay, hearing no public discussion, I will close the public hearing. It is now 7:07 PM, and I will open up the Planning and Zoning Committee. We are all present this evening, and I will entertain any discussion that needs to be had on this. Like I said, this is a third reading. We've had a lot of discussion on it. It's a clarification of the wording in the minor subdivision section.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Just as you so stated, this is strictly clarifying some of the minor subdivision procedures, make it easier for the contractors and the developers to come in. And I publicly want to thank Mrs. Hussing, who put a lot of this together and worked very hard on that with Mrs. Raber on that. So it is ready to go at third reading. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mrs. Hussing, for all your hard work on this. Your attention to detail is impeccable. Thank you. Any discussion on this at this time? Any motion entertained?
So moved. Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-86. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Burton, would you please call the roll?
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023-86 has been adopted by a vote of 7-0. And at this time, I will close planning and zoning until a later time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cisak, your public hearing.
Thank you. I spoke with the law director, and procedurally, I will ask for a motion to amend the budget, and so that way we can have a public hearing on the amended version of the budget. And then we'll go back and we'll vote on it and have discussion, so.
I move to amend based on the information Mrs. Stritch provided us.
So a motion and a second to amend ordinance 2023-87, Exhibit A, amended Exhibit A, 1214, amended Exhibit A.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
just a clarification on this. If we have questions related to this particular ordinance, as Mr. Lowry had just stated, it's as amended. If we have other things we want to bring up, should we do that now or vote on the amendment first and then have to go through the whole process again?
Well, it's up to you. You could discuss other things now, or you can, there's been a motion and a second already on this
Right.
particular version of the amendment, so you may want to handle that first, just because the motion and second have already been made.
So, yeah, so let me, Mrs. Stritch, would you like to speak to the amended version? I think you specified, you shared with me earlier, what that was for council and the general public. Thank
Yes,
you.
please. The amended version, excuse me, that you have on this evening dated 12/14/2023, there is one amendment, and that amendment is the increase in cost to the dispatching services for the city of Tallmadge. We received the contract after our November 9th meeting, so the finance director was able to get the up-to-date, accurate, exact number for the dispatching services, and I tried to make that very clear on the Exhibit A that is also attached to the ordinance. So it takes the appropriation from $575,000 for dispatching services, excuse me, to $651,330. And that is on the very first page. If you look at the working budget, I also have it noted, as I mentioned, on Exhibit A that's attached to the ordinance. And on the very last page of Exhibit A, I spell that out specifically. Thank you.
Take any questions for Mrs. Stritch?
I just want to clarify that we have been talking repeatedly over the last weeks with the budget, that we knew we were going to be having an adjustment to the specific line item, and we just did not get that line item adjustment until after the last meeting, until just recently. So just so the public know that we were aware that this was going to be coming up.
Anybody else have anything? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carol Kilway,
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman,
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
So ordinance 2023-87, Exhibit A, amended Exhibit A, 12-14, amended Exhibit A, is been adopted by vote, or amended by a vote of 7-0. At this time, I now will open the public hearing. It is 7:13. And at this time, if anyone would like to speak in favor of ordinance, amended ordinance 2023-87 at this time, please come forward. If anyone would like to speak against ordinance 2023, amended ordinance 2023-87, please come forward. Second time, is anyone would like to speak in favor of this ordinance, please step forward. And for a second time, anyone would like to speak against this ordinance amended 2023-87, Exhibit A, please step forward. And last and final time, if you'd like to speak in favor and/or against, please step forward at this time. Seeing none, it is 7:14, and I will close the public hearing. And I will take a motion to adopt amended ordinance 2023-87, Exhibit A.
Mr. Chair, I just have a point of order. So, just so we don't have to rehash this again later, just in case. Because of the ordinance in the personnel grid and the budget are obviously very closely tied together, I would like to bring up one thing that I think would obviously be beneficial now to bring it up than to bring it up during the personnel section when we've already voted on the budget. So if I may bring this issue to light.
As soon as we vote, make a motion, and then we'll have discussion.
I'll move to adopt.
Thank you.
And then if
I'll
I get a
second.
second,
Second.
so we have a motion, and a second. Is there any discussion? You're on.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So I reached out to Jill regarding some information in regards to some personnel that the rec center is wanting to put together. And I just wanted to, I guess, ask for some more clarification on it. I know we've discussed going from 2 part-time employees to 1 full-time employee. And I guess I'm confused as to how this particular position is more beneficial being a full-time position of with 1 individual as opposed to having 2 part-time individuals that are currently doing those roles. So if,
Sure, I'll start, and then I'm sure we have Jessica here, and we have the service director here also. When it was presented to the administration to consider putting this into the budget and also changing the personnel grid, there was a lot of thought and discussion about the continuity of operation and that this would be more consistent. And I'll let Jessica fill in here in a minute, but that's why I proceeded, since it's the budget being presented by the administration, to go ahead and put this in the budget and to put the person in the personnel budget too. I think it's a good thing for the rec center, well, especially being there, working there for many years, that the continuity of having a full-time person there over the part-times is much better in the operation. I know you had advocated many, many times, we need to get more full-time people up there. And I think that's really what I was listening to, and listening to the director up there and also the service director, and that's where we're at tonight. Jessica, I don't know if you need.
Can I jump in real quick? Councilman, as you know, in 2019, we passed a master plan for the parks, and the plan called for 7 full-time folks to work in the parks. And at the time, I think we only had 3. So that, we're looking at creating full-time positions. That plan was approved. We're chipping away at that. This will bring us to 5 full-time. So we're still too short of that number of 7 full-time. So the creation of this full-time position definitely makes a lot of sense. I'll let Jessica go into more detail on the rest of it.
Oh, thank you. Really, what the mayor and the service director have both said are really the driving forces behind this. Since we had some staff leave earlier in 2023, it really became apparent to us that as some of these people who have been here for a very long time are reaching retirement and, going on to other things because they can't sustain with a part-time job being their main income anymore, it really does lend itself to our continuity of business to have a full-time person in this position. The other benefit is that if we have a full-time person over having potentially 2 part-time people, is that we're not limited then by the number of hours that they are permitted to work. Whereas with our part-time people, we have to limit them to 28 hours a week to avoid them going over the threshold to be considered to have benefits. So with having a full-time person in that position, if the need arises, we do have the ability for them to work overtime as needed. We would continue to ask them to flex their schedules as we do right now. That's the situation we're in with our rec program coordinator. But because recreation is so seasonal and kind of loaded at different times, it does help us to be able to have that opportunity there as well.
thank you. So I keep hearing the word continuity, and as I'm sitting here thinking about it, because I know who these individuals are, one part-time person that just left, and as you mentioned, in early 2023, was there for over 10 years. The other individual's been there since, I believe, the building opened. So I think there's a lot of continuity there that existed. I believe the person that is in the one role as we speak has been there for probably close to 10 years at this point. So I'm concerned that we might be, and you sort of alluded to it, that we are creating a position to eliminate somebody who is basically retiring. And that, to me, does not seem legal, for one, and just morally right to begin with. So I question whether or not that is being done as we're doing this as a whole to push for more full-time employees, or if we're doing this to eliminate a retiree.
Councilman.
Councilman, can I jump in real quick? I'm not sure what you're talking about. No one's talking about eliminating anybody. I mean, we're making a full-time position. 2 part-time positions are going to disappear at that person or people can.
Full-time person. But again, I question that then, because a full-time person, you are paying 52 weeks out of the year. A part-time person, you can change and limit the hours based upon the workload that individual has throughout the year. So essentially, you're saving more money by being able to do that than having a full-time employee with the benefits, with everything else that is involved in that. So I just wanted to at least bring that up and mention that, because I feel like that is a bit of an oversight for the programs that we currently have. We've eliminated some, being, well, I shouldn't say eliminated. We haven't been able to run a particular program, being Community All-Stars, for this past year, which obviously affects that individual's hours. But if we're saying that by creating a full-time person, we're going to all of a sudden magically be able to put this program back on, I don't buy that. So that's my piece about the position and about the roles. I don't know if anyone else on council had anything to.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion or commentary? Hearing none? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bowles.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Amended ordinance 2023-87, Exhibit A is passed by a vote of 7-0. I will go ahead and close the Finance Committee. Thank you.
So before we go to your committee, Mr. Bullis, we are having some technical issues for those that are watching the live stream. So we're going to have a brief conversation with our AV people to see if they can get that rectified. It'll be just a second.
Let me go in the closet and figure this out. I'll be right back.
They stopped. For those that are watching, we are trying to get this fixed as soon as possible for you. We apologize. It's different things.
He thought we were in executive session with personnel, so he switched it back, so it should be back on.
All right. We are back live, and we will move to our public hearing on personnel, excuse me. Mr. Bullis.
Yes, thank you. Call Personnel Committee to order. Tonight, we have ordinance 2023-94, tract amended, establishing the number of non-collective bargaining employees by department and position pursuant to RC 731.08, providing for immediate enactment. I'm opening the public hearing. It is, what time is it?
7:25.
It's 7:25, and I'll open the public hearing. Procedurally, we want to first go for a motion and a second on this, and then open it up. Is that correct?
No, just don't.
Just open it up.
Okay. All right. So is there anyone from the public that would like to speak for ordinance 2023-94 or against 2023-94? All right. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak again on ordinance 2023-94 or against ordinance 2023-94? All right. For a third time, anyone from the public here this evening that would like to speak for ordinance 2023-94 or against ordinance 2023-94? All right. Opening up committee.
You need to close
Close.
the public hearing at 7:26 PM.
Sorry, I always mess that up. All right. Closing committee, 7:26. Thank you very much. All right. My apologies. So opening up committee now for discussion.
Need motion?
I'd move to adopt
Second.
ordinance 2023-94.
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second on ordinance 2023-94, tract amended. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bozick.
in light of the information that we received from the Director of Parks and Rec, I would like to make a motion that we amend and eliminate the sports fitness coordinator and put back in the fitness coordinator and the sports program coordinator. So I move to make an amendment to the ordinance 2023-94.
As we're opening, okay, again, procedural, we have a motion for an amendment. That requires a second, correct?
I will second it.
All right. We have a motion and a second to amend ordinance 2023-94. Opening up to discussion at this point. Mr. Bozick, if you'd like to elaborate on your amendment.
I just feel like there's some more homework we could be doing in relation to that position. I do feel that, yes, the Parks and Rec Department does need more full-time employees, but I feel like there's also some issues with creating or combining the particular positions that have been proposed. So.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
as the mayor for the city, I take a lot of pride in the department heads making their requests. We do a lot of homework. There's been a lot of study on it. This is a position that I would not put in the budget if I didn't feel it's for the betterment of the good for the rec center, the operation, the continuity of operation up there. As I stated earlier, I highly recommend council not approving the amendment, but that is council's decision. It's not like we sit back and not do the study on it. I think it's a good spot, and we're not forcing anybody out. If somebody wants to apply for a job, it sounds like this is more of a personal thing where you're trying to take care of some of your personal friends on there, and that's sort of what it seems like to me anyway. So with that, I request it staying as amended already.
All right. Anyone on council have any comment on the motion amendment? Okay. So based on that,
You got to vote.
okay. Call the roll, please, clerk. Sorry.
Craig Ciesick.
Just point of order, just so we're all on the same page. If you want to approve the amendment that Mr. Bozick suggested or proposed, you vote yes.
Correct.
If you do not want to approve that amendment, you vote no.
Thank you.
Becky Allman.
No, I didn't answer it.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
No.
Jonathan Bolus.
No.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
No.
Carol Kilway.
No.
Dennis Lowry.
No.
The motion's voted on no by a vote of 2 to 5.
Mr. Bolus?
Yes.
I move to adopt ordinance 2023.
So to just state it, the motion failed by a vote of 2 to 5.
Motion failed by a vote of 2 to 5. I apologize.
And now you already have a standing motion and second already for the adoption of ordinance 2023-94, and as has been previously amended in other meetings.
Okay.
Just need further discussion
So-
and roll call.
Thank
Mhm,
you.
So, yep.
So, further discussion on ordinance 2023-94, tract amended at third reading. All right, we'll call the roll.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the ordinance 2023-94 is passed by a vote of 7 to 0. And with that, I'll close Personnel Committee.
Thank you. Good job, everybody. Good discussion. Item 7, community input. This is the point on our agenda where if anybody would like to speak to council on anything that is not on our agenda, you would do it at this time. Is there anyone that would like to address council? Seeing none, we will move to item 8, agenda additions. We
Dennis?
will add.
Are we going to do it under community, or?
We're going to do it under additions. So under agenda additions, this evening, it didn't make it to the agenda by mistake, but we are going to recognize and thank the Lyons family, and they are here this evening to make a special presentation. So if you guys would please come up, we will turn the floor over to you.
We'll need photos.
Dave and Jessica.
You guys go ahead and talk, and then.
Okay.
Yeah, Roger Sue.
Okay.
You obviously, you don't need any introduction to us, but for those that are watching, please introduce yourselves. And then,
My name's Roger Lyons. This is my wife, Sue, our daughter, Lisa Godar, and our grandson, Grayson Godar. And we are here tonight to thank the city of Tallmadge and all the representatives present, and especially Mayor Klein and Jessica Simons in helping us with the donation of playground equipment in memory of our son, Matthew. Matthew passed in April of 22. He was a Tallmadge High School graduate. We would also like to thank the Tallmadge Foundation and Kim Ray for the collection of the donations from all our family and friends towards this project. We are glad to be a part of the larger plan for the playground equipment for Howe Road Park. And we'd like to please accept our donation of $15,000 for the playground equipment at Howe Road Park in the memory of our son Matthew.
We'll get a photo here, but, well, let's do the photo first, I guess.
Do it this way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Behalf of the city of Tallmadge, we'll gladly accept this. You know, I wish I didn't have to accept the check, but you put this to a great use. Matt will be remembered up there at Howe Road Park once we get that park going. And the park plan that is going up there, that council so graciously gave us funding to fund that whole park. We're sinking a lot of money into it, so Matt will be very proud, and so will the Lions family. So thank you, and
Thank you.
yeah.
I appreciate her help.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Follow that one.
When are we going to executive session? Okay.
Yeah, it's.
All righty. Running this meeting like we haven't met in 5 or 6 weeks.
It's been a long time.
Let's move to item 8, reports of administrative officers. Mayor, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief tonight. One thing I would like to bring to council's attention, and I'll throw it up here on the screen, is everybody recognize where that's located, I'm sure. That's the Ritchie driveway. So the camera system, and a few minutes ago, that parking lot was pretty full because a lot of people were over at the Little League practicing, but you can see, it's hard to see tonight, but there's a lot of photos there of different locations. This photo down here at the bottom, that's the ball field on A field. So we do have the camera system up and operational down there, so hats off to the IT department. I know it took a long time to get that going. It is not on fiber optic, so it's hard to capture a lot of the images, but there is a machine down there that collects all the information, so we could go down there and pull it off there, but these cameras do bounce back and forth to us. Well, you're seeing that live from my computer. Today, I'm happy to announce that at the Amex meeting, which I attended today, City of Tallmadge was fortunate to win an award for $8,509,999 for the East Avenue project. So that was funded today. That was for Phase 1. Phase 1 is from Monroe Road to Brimfield, and we're 1 point away from Phase 2, and that would be from Monroe to Community Drive. And so it looks, but this funding, keep in mind, it's for 2028 fiscal year, so the construction would be 2027, July of 2027. So that's a little bit away, but they said that's my parting gift from Amex, that they awarded Tallmadge that, but that's not really true because it goes to the state of Ohio, so they don't care about Dave Klein retiring. So, but we got funded, so I'll take a little credit for it. Outside of that, we do have a lot of ordinances. Thank you for the budget. I think it is an extremely good budget moving forward for the city of Tallmadge. It's the highest budget that we've seen with the $45 million budget, but it is a good operation. Hats off to all the department heads that work so hard on this, and Jill, Molly, and the whole team that put this budget together. I think the citizens will be very happy on the progress that will be done in next year's operation. And the Joint Dispatch Center, thank you for adding that money. Still for $650,000 to have dispatch center up at the northeast, or North Avenue and Howe Road, state-of-the-art center. City of Akron's in there, multiple jurisdictions are in there. There's 125 employees operation out of that department, out of that building up there. So what a great repurposing of that there. And all the rest of the ordinances that are, we'll talk about each one of those as they come up, but I am going to request the adoption, first readings, adoptions of the ordinances that are there, 99, 98, 100, 102, and the executive session tonight for personnel is relative to contract negotiations. So I would ask the personnel to go in when personnel comes up to order tonight. Outside of that, I'll save the rest of the comments to the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Anything for the mayor? Okay, thank you. Director of Administration, Mrs. Stritch.
Thank you. Well, the mayor kind of stole some of my thunder, but I would like to personally thank the department heads, the administrative officials, and the members of council who spent hours with me in preparing this budget. I know it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of questions. I appreciate the council people when they call me, when they email me, when they come in. It's a very, very important document as it sets our priorities as we move into the next year, and I thoroughly enjoy working on the budget. So thank you. I also want to thank you. I know we did a lot of personnel this year, and it was a little bit excruciating. We had a lot of ordinances, but once again, thank you, everyone, for everything that you do. And I would like to thank the Lionses, too. I know they had to leave, but we're just so fortunate, some of the people that we have here in the city, and they still want to do so much for us, and so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything for Mrs. Stritch? Okay, moving on. Mr. Rohr?
Good evening. No report this evening. I would like to ask that ordinances 2023-99, 100, 101, 102, if they can be passed this evening, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Anything for Mr. Rohr? Mrs. Gilbride is out tonight, so we will move on to Mrs. Raber, Director of Law.
Thank you. I have no report this evening. I do want to thank council for approving the additional part-time assistant law director for my department in ordinance 2394. I'm excited for that personally. So, and I want to thank everyone for the hard work this year, and appreciate everyone and all that you do. Thank you. And
Anything for Mrs. Raber? Okay, let's get into our legislative agenda. Item 10, Planning and Zoning, Mrs. Kilway.
Thank you. I will again open Planning and Zoning Committee. We do have ordinance 2023-101 at first reading. It is accepting the dedication of streets within the Tallmadge Reserve Phase 6 and Phase 7 subdivision for public purposes, setting performance and maintenance guarantees therefore, and providing for immediate enactment. This was presented to Planning and Zoning Commission last week, and so when we got this project, they had said it was going to be about a 7-year build-out, and we're at year 3, and this is the
Correct.
final phase. So they're extremely ahead of schedule. It's been a very successful project, and I commend, everybody for bringing this to the city of Tallmadge. Is there any discussion on this ordinance?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
as
Mayor
you
Klein.
stated, that Planning and Zoning did review this last week and did approve it and made the recommendation to council for the adoption. This is Phase 6 and 7. It's the last build-out of the Ripley Farm development. As you stated, it was anticipated to be a 5 to 7 year project, and they escalated it, and they can't build them fast enough. Phase 6 and 7, the infrastructure's in. They're ready to start selling the lots, but they cannot start selling until this ordinance is adopted. This is more, it's more than just housekeeping, but it is like a housekeeping that we're setting the bonds for all the items that are left that are not completed, that they have to guarantee to complete, and the bond would cover it. That's what this is setting. But they cannot sell any of those next phases until they can record it, and they can't record it until this is adopted.
Right. Okay, does anyone have any further discussion or a motion?
I would move to adopt.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt. Is there a second? And a second? Mrs. Gutman, do you have anything you wanted to add with this?
I was just going to ask if there was a problem with adopting tonight. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Burton, would you please call the roll?
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023-101 has been adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else to come into planning and zoning at this time? Hearing none, I'll close committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance, Mr. Ciesick?
Yes, I'd like to call finance to order. We currently have third readings of ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 2023-85, Exhibit A. It's about imposition of tax, annual return filing, and Mrs. Gilbride said this is ready to go. Does anyone have any, or can I get a motion on this?
Mr. Sisak?
Yes.
Move to adopt ordinance 2023-85.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-85, Exhibit A. Is there any discussion now? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-85, Exhibit A has been approved by a vote of 7-0. We have first readings of ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 2023-98. It's appropriating additional amounts for various insurance claims for the fire department and providing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would request council at first reading, and this is for a sewer backup that they had at Station Number 1, that they had to do, tear up the floor inside the station, inside the shower rooms, hallway. In one of the offices, there was a bad pipe under the ground. They had to make that repair. And then we had another incident with a fire truck that required another insurance claim. Insurance will pay for it, but it's, we did not have enough money in the fire funds in their operating budgets to cover that, and so that's what we're requesting, the additional appropriation to take care of those two items.
Mr. Sisak?
Yes, ma'am.
I would move to adopt ordinance 2023-98.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-98. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-98 has been adopted at first reading by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2023-99, authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept, if awarded, the Ohio EPA Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Grant Program and providing for immediate enactment. Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Sisak?
Yes, ma'am.
Move to adopt ordinance 2023-99.
Second.
So a motion is second to adopt ordinance 2023-99 at first reading. Is there any discussion?
Councilman?
Sir?
So this is from the Ohio EPA. This is the last of their ARPA funds for the water, wastewater infrastructure grant. They advertised this about a month ago, so this is why it's late coming to you, and it's coming to you fast. It's for water line replacement, and we actually have several water lines that we have engineered. Everything's got to be shovel-ready to get this, and we actually are applying for about 7 water lines to get replaced. They're all in the small streets of East Overdale, West Overdale, Transit, Cambrian, and Knollwood and Outlook. So that area, I mean, it's all and all those roads need paved, and we're not paving those so the water lines get fixed, because we know they're bad water lines to begin with. So it's a great opportunity to score some money for redoing the water lines.
So again, this is just allowing the mayor to apply for this.
Correct.
So it's, yes.
Each municipal are allowed up to $5 million award. So with all the 5 projects that we have, we're slightly under that. So hopefully we get them all, but it'd be nice to get 1, 2, 3, or all of them.
Take any of them.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-99 passed at first reading by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2023-100, authorizing the mayor to exceed a contract with Pro Quality Demolition in excess of 10% for the demolition of 89 East Howe Road and providing for immediate enactment. Can I get a motion on this, please?
Mr. Sisak,
Yes, ma'am.
move to adopt ordinance 2023-100.
Second.
So a motion is second to adopt ordinance 2023-100 at first reading. Is there any discussion?
Councilman.
Sir.
So this is during the demo of the 89 East Howe Road, which is the old DD site, and unbeknownst to us and the testing and everything that we did to be prepared for this, it turns out that underneath a concrete floor as well as a foundation wall, there was an asbestos material, and to haul that out, it was actually 101 loads to be hauled out that had to be taken care of. That was Category 1. And 1 load was the bad stuff, the rackham, so that was good. That was only 1 load, but there again, that was not the idea. The contractor was hoping to recycle that concrete. He couldn't even touch it after that point, so it had to be hauled away. Total unknown and nothing you could really do about it.
You have a price on that for us?
Yes, so it's a total of $190,600.
All right, anybody else have any comments, questions, discussion?
I would have one for Mr.
Go ahead.
Rohr. So what was the amount of the grant we received?
It's $1 million.
And so even with this ad, we're still within the grant?
We're getting close, but yeah, we're still
All right,
within the
that's
grant.
perfect. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-100 has been passed by vote, at first reading, by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you.
We also have ordinance 2023-102, reducing appropriations in the OWDA loan fund number 580 and providing for immediate enactment. Can I get a motion on this, please?
Mr. Sisak,
Yes, ma'am.
move to adopt ordinance 2023-102.
Second.
So motion is second to adopt ordinance 2023-102 at first reading. Any discussion?
Councilman.
Sir.
So we were hoping to actually apply for the WDA loans this year for East Avenue and Southwest Avenue. The engineering for those weren't complete, and they're almost done now, so that's why we're withdrawing that.
Okay. Any questions?
Mr. Sisak,
Yes, ma'am.
are we going to potentially reapply for them next year then?
I don't think it's in the budget, but if
Okay.
2025,
2025? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
That'll
That was
be
going to
your-
be my next question, so thank you.
That'll be your decision, ma'am.
I know. Getting a plan.
All
Free
right.
money.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-102 has been passed at first reading by a vote of 7-0.
thank you.
Is there anything else to come before the Finance Committee this evening?
Great job.
Hearing none, close committee. Thank you.
All right, we are moving to personnel. Thank you, Mr. Sig, you did an excellent job. Personnel, we want to go into an executive session first for the purpose of discussing contract negotiations. So I would entertain a motion for us to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Bozick, second. Was that Mr. Bolus?
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilway?
Yes, I will not be going into executive session due to the fact of the collective bargaining discussion pertains to my family. So I will remain out here with everyone else.
Well, you can stand out here and dance for those live streams.
That will not happen.
All right, so hearing no other discussion, Mrs. Burton?
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus. Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
All right, it is 7:56, and we will be leaving the room, going into executive session. For those in the audience, we'll come back, resume the meeting. For those that are live streaming, I imagine you're going to be looking at a screen that says that we are in executive session. So we'll be back.
Should only be back in about
All right, it is 8:08, and we are back in council chambers. The executive session is over, and so at this time, I will turn personnel over to Mr. Bolus.
Good evening, thank you. Call Personnel Committee to order. We are all present this evening. This evening, we have at third readings, ordinance 2023-89, ordinance 2023-89, Exhibit A. This is authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with the Tallmadge Part-Time Firefighters Association consisting of Tallmadge part-time firefighters and providing for immediate enactment. Coming out of our executive session discussion, I will ask for the clerk to call the roll.
Got to make a
No,
motion.
I'll move to adopt at first
Second.
reading,
Second.
or third reading, I'm sorry.
We have a motion and a second, and these public hearings are throwing me off. I apologize.
He needs coffee.
I know.
No, you don't.
Yes. Now, please call the roll. Sorry.
Is there any discussion? Point of order, is there any
Oh,
discussion?
geez.
Yes, Mr. Bolus. Mr.
Yes,
Bolus. Yes,
ma'am.
just again, I am going to abstain from any discussion on this matter due to my familiar relationship.
All right. Thank you for that. Any other discussion regarding caffeine?
No.
All right. No discussion. Please call the roll.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Abstain?
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-89 passes by a vote of 6 to 1 abstention.
Thank you.
With that said, any other discussion to come about Personnel Committee this evening? I'll close committee. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was daydreaming. I do need some coffee. Let's move to safety, Mr.
It's
Bozick.
warm in here.
I am paying attention. I'm ready. So there are no ordinances in front of us tonight in the safety. So let me backtrack. I do need caffeine. I call the safety committee to order. We have all present. There is no ordinance in front of us this evening. I'll open it up to anyone on council. To the floor? No? I do want to commend the administration on the camera installation over at the Hole. Long overdue, but it's definitely a much-needed improvement for the safety of the community as a whole and for just our buildings as well. So
Thank you.
thank you for that. And then I just wanted to mention our auxiliary PD. I see them out all over the place, and I just want to thank them for the job that they do. It's just easily overlooked just how dangerous it is to step out into the circle to stop traffic. I was hesitant to even follow when they told me it was okay to walk out there, but I definitely want to thank them for the job that they do and for stepping out into traffic. So thank you to them. Without any other input, I will close the safety committee.
Thank you, Mr. Bozick. Community issues, Mrs. Gutman?
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. I'll call community issues to order. And we have before us tonight at third reading, ordinance 2023-93, expressing intent to sell unneeded, obsolete, or unfit real property known as parcel number 60-02371, located on Shanafel Avenue, not needed for municipal purposes and providing for immediate enactment. And could I have a motion to adopt this tonight?
Mrs. Gutman?
Thank you.
I move
Mrs.
to adopt
Kilway.
ordinance 2023-93.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Is there any further discussion on this? I don't want to talk any more about, I know we've addressed what it is, but
This is a parcel that has been there. We acquired it a long time ago. It has no public purpose at all. And it's good to let it go to some of the neighbors down there, or one of the neighbors.
So
thank you.
I have a question,
Yes, Mr. Lowry.
be- because this would be different from the school district. So when the municipality, city owns something like this, we do not have to go to auction.
We did.
You can
Did.
sell.
We did.
We did.
Went to auction and
We went to auction, and
Zero.
it's all laid out in that ordinance, but we went to auction. We did not get any bids. We have tried to sell it. We went to that, so we exhausted all other possibilities. So this is the last resort.
okay, so then I just want to, again, for understanding, did we have the latitude to put it in the CIC, and then the CIC could have just dispersed of it as they seen fit?
Well, the CIC has a purpose, which is economic development, and so the economic development purposes for a residential property that's non-buildable is questionable. So I thought the more appropriate thing for us to do is to go down this
Because I
route.
do know other communities where we primarily use our CIC and CRA for economic development. Other communities use them mostly on residential properties. That was the reason for the question. Okay, two different ways to get to the same place, right? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Gutman.
Thank you, that's an interesting point. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Mary Gutman,
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-93 has passed at third reading with a vote of 7-0. Okay, we also have before us at first reading ordinance 2023-97, authorizing certain city-owned personal property to be excess/obsolete and authorizing the donation of said equipment to the DeArmond Foundation with certain conditions and providing for immediate enactment. And I understand this is the fire trailer, Mr. Mayor?
That is correct. It's a fire trailer that we have that we no longer needed for the fire department. It's been sitting around. It's going to rot before we do anything with it. And it's what a great foundation to be able to donate this to, and they could put it to good use. So that's what the request is for.
Okay, I'm glad that there's a use for it. Do we need to keep this at first reading?
No, you could adopt it.
A motion to adopt.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Mrs. Gutman,
Yes, Mr.
I
Lowry?
do believe that the DeArmond Foundation is a C3. 501c3.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-97 is passed at first reading with a vote of 7-0. Okay. We also have at first reading ordinance 2023-103, imposing a 6-month moratorium on acceptance of any zoning application for an adult use cannabis operator and providing for immediate enactment. Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. This is only at first reading. It can only give it a first reading, but I thought my parting gift to this council for next year, for you guys to pick it up and you guys can discuss it. But there's a lot of changes going and there's a lot of uncertainty. So I think it's fairness to our city administration, city council, the citizens of Tallmadge. Let's put a moratorium on and let that stuff all work out and then bring it, it'll be back within 6 months and that's.
And if I can just add to that, so the moratorium, to be very clear to everyone, is only as it pertains to zoning. So it's only the zoning for a cannabis use operator. It doesn't have anything to do with personal possession or use, as is regulated by the new law. What this is for us to be able to have time to really explore what we as a community want to do throughout the state. There are some communities that have already started to prohibit cannabis operators. There's others that are permitting them. We do have regulations in place right now for medical marijuana dispensaries and operators that prohibits that. So I think whatever we do, we need to look at whether that we end up doing something consistent with that, inconsistent with that, et cetera. So doing the moratorium just allows us a time to explore that before, we would receive any kind of application. That said, I don't think that it's up and running yet where there's going to be operators, although the latest version of the bill that was passed by the Senate that is still being considered by the House does have a provision to allow current medical dispensaries to immediately begin dispensing for recreational use. We do not have them, again, in our city because we do have that prohibition right now. So, again, I just think it's a wise move. This will have 3 readings. We'll have a public hearing at the end of January, but just to give us time to sort it all out and figure out which direction our community wants to go in.
Thank you. Do I need to set the public hearing?
No, yes, you can read that into the record and set the public hearing.
Okay, what date in
Here,
January?
let me pull it up.
January 25th at 7:05.
Okay, I will set a public hearing for ordinance 2023-103 for January 25th at 7:05 PM. Thank you.
It's not in the-
Okay, and are
Yeah,
there
right
any further comments or questions
Madam
on
Chair.
this? Yes.
I do have a
Mr.
question.
President.
So you, Law Director Raber had mentioned that there's currently no operators. Is there any way that there could be the sale of within a business that is currently operating in Tallmadge? Or does it have to be specifically coined as a medical operator, or can it be?
My understanding is under the current legislation, they have to go through the regulations that'll be promulgated by the governing body for this, and those have not even been formulated yet. They haven't been created. That's another reason to kind of wait and see what happens with that. But as of right now, again, the legislation, so in the originally adopted version, I think there was kind of like a 6-month kind of time frame before those would become operational. And this pending legislation that's in front of the state legislature would potentially change it to the immediately allow medical to start dispensing recreational, but not other operators, at least as of yet. But again, this is something that's changing and unknown because we haven't had that, at least the last time I checked the news, there wasn't a final vote at the
Right.
State House. So.
Understood. So as it stands now, we don't have to be concerned about that, but should that change and it be allowed to be sold at an Acme grocery store, that has nothing to do with the moratorium whatsoever, correct?
Right. I mean,
Okay.
there may be things that we just aren't able, we wouldn't be able to regulate.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we'll keep ordinance 2023-103 at first reading. And then we also have ordinance 2023-104 at first reading, accepting the donation of 48 Northeast Avenue.
Go ahead. You want to?
Parcel number 60-04114 and parcel number 60-01283, and providing for immediate enactment. Mayor Klein or Mrs.
I'll defer to
Raber?
the law department.
So just, on this particular ordinance, we are going to request to withdraw this evening. We did have a resident approach us late last week, indicating that they may want to donate this parcel. There was since a little bit of back and forth, and at this point, they have decided they're going to hold off on that decision, may come back to us at a later date, but at this time, do not wish to proceed with that. So it's on your agenda, but we are not asking you to proceed. We're asking you to actually vote to withdraw this ordinance.
So you need a motion to withdraw? So Mrs. Gutman, I would move to withdraw ordinance 2023-104.
Okay, thank you. We have a
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to withdraw ordinance 2023-104 and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carol Kilway,
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance 2023-104, by a vote of 7-0, has been withdrawn.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's all that we have in front of us this evening. Is there anything further for community issues tonight? Okay, I would just like to say I love being a part of this community, and thank you all for a great year, and I hope you all have a happy holiday. And I will close committee.
Thank you, Mrs. Gutman. Public Service, Mrs. Allman.
I call the Public Service Committee to order. We have no legislation before us. Does anyone have anything to say for public service?
Did a great job.
Madam
See-
Chair,
oh,
I just want to, again, thank the Service Department for the job well done on all the water main breaks that we've had recently. And to the Water Department, obviously, putting in the extra hours. And you recently had one break that I think they turned it around in a short, very, very short period of time. So
Thank you.
congratulations to those guys on a job well done.
I'll pass it on to him. Thank you.
I second all that. Anything else for public service?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just a quick question. I've been seeing some work done along I-76 on both sides, some grass clearing, vegetation clearing, forest clearing. Would that qualify as a project for sound barriers?
No, that's just maintenance.
It's just maintenance?
Yes.
Okay, it looks like they're clearing for something.
No, they're getting rid of the vegetation, so they're trying to get any trees that could fall into the lanes out of the way.
Okay,
So they're putting all that back in the grass.
okay. Just thought I'd ask.
Yep.
Anything else for public service? Seeing none, I'll close committee.
Thank you, Mrs. Allman. Item 11, reports of special committees. I have none. Other than I would just like to take an opportunity on behalf of council to thank both Mrs. Burton and Mrs. Conti for all they do for us. They do a tremendous amount for me, as Mrs. Kilway can attest. You cannot be council president without having a good back office, and they do extremely well. So thank you. Thank you, and I know Mrs. Conti is watching, so thank you. Okay, we'll move on to announcements. You can see that the Richardson Trust Fund dispersed over $3,800 after probably not getting up and running until about later, much later this past year. So I believe that $5,000 threshold has been good for us and good for the community. There's a reminder for those of you that would like to get your photos taken on December 18th at 11 a.m. And then we have some latitude on our organizational meeting and our council meeting. And it was probably an error on my part. The organizational meeting never takes an hour. We probably should allow a half hour, though, just to be safe. But you can, we can start at 6:30 with the organizational meeting and then keep our regular meeting at 7. Or we can keep the organizational meeting at 6 and agree and announce that we're going to have that council meeting at 6:30. So I'm available for either, whatever council would like to do. I think I explained that right, Mrs. Raber? Okay.
Yeah, as long as you vote on it and set it tonight, and then it can be published, and we're far ahead of.
Okay.
So I would move the meeting back to 6:30 then.
The organizational
The
meeting?
organizational meeting, yes.
All right, so
Because currently it's at 6. correct?
currently it's at
Yeah.
6.
And it
Just to-
doesn't take an hour, so.
Sorry, just a clarification, that is on Wednesday, January 10th, and not
Right.
our normal Thursday.
Right, we already changed it.
Right.
And the reason,
And
again,
just-
for everybody, the reason for the change is so that we could do both meetings on one day instead of having to come back on Thursday. the 11th.
Because
or
the
10th.
charter provides that we
Yeah.
need to have the organizational meeting.
Right,
within
we have
10
to have the
days.
meeting on or before the 10th, the organizational meeting, per the charter. So we have, I guess, a recommendation to move our organizational meeting to 6:30 on January 10th, Wednesday the 10th, and then keep the meeting for the regular council meeting at 7 PM. Is that,
Yes, sir, that's.
Mrs. Burton? I guess we should call the roll on that.
Need a motion.
That'll be the motion. Is there a
Yeah,
second?
motion to move the organizational meeting to 6:30, council meeting to commence at 7.
Okay,
Second?
second by Mr. Bowles. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none. Mrs. Burton?
Dennis Lowry.
Yes.
Craig Ciesick.
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick.
Yes.
Mary Gutman.
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Thanks. Well, then, before we adjourn, and since I have the microphone, I'm going to go first. I want to congratulate Mrs. Kilway again and wish her all the best.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a pleasure serving with you on council. And then, of course, Mrs. Allman, we've known each other forever. And I'm not going to cry on TV.
Yeah, you are.
So I want to thank Becky for all that she's done in council and continues to do in our community. Mr. Ciesick has been an excellent vice president, and the way he runs the finance committee benefits not only us, but the city. And Craig and I have really become friends, not only in here, but as well outside in the community. And so, heck, I'll finish with the others. Mrs. Stritch and I have known each other for 45 years, a long time. And there is no one with more institutional knowledge of this city that can help you in several different ways. And our residents have benefited for sure. And I've benefited both personally and professionally. So thank you, Jill. And then lastly, I wasn't sure how I was going to do this. So this has been hard, obviously. The mayor and I have a long history, and we disagree. We probably couldn't disagree more on certain political issues and the way to manage and lead an organization. But that being said, I have never, ever known anybody that had more of a servant's heart and always did what they thought was best for this city. And so I want to thank Mayor Klein for his service.
Thank you very much.
I'm done.
I'll go next before everyone starts crying. I just want to say I've enjoyed being on council the last 6 years and carrying on my dad's legacy. And I've enjoyed working with all of you, and I just want to thank you for your support.
Anyone else?
I would like to also add in, I want to thank the council people who are moving on. It's been a pleasure. There's been times that have been tense, but there's been a lot of good times too. And I know that everyone has the city's best interest at heart. And I know that with Jill and with Dave, they definitely did. Both of them have given years and years of service to our community. They have been mentors and friends.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate all that I've learned from both of you. Sorry. And I wish you both the best.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Now you're gonna make me cry. Anyone else?
I would just like to say, thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens in Ward 1 over the past 10 years. And I enjoyed every moment of it. I have no regrets, and I look to turn over a new leaf in 2024. Thank you.
All right, I'll go next. I've had such a unique opportunity to sit as an employee and as a city council member, to work with Becky as a business owner as well. And she's been absolutely one of the greatest assets our city has. So I truly appreciate Becky and everything that she does for our community. I echo everything Mr. Lowry had said about Craig. Craig is such an asset to have as a bouncing ideas off of and just getting information from. And he hears and sees everything that goes on in the community, and he knows exactly, he has his finger on the pulse. And I know Jill and Dave, I had opportunities to sit with you many times as an employee, opportunities to sit with you as a council member, and I appreciate both of you and everything you've done for the city. It has been an honor and a privilege to be able to know both of you and to have worked with both of you. So thank you.
I just want to say thank you to everyone at the table, and that I just really appreciate, there's not like a specific handbook for how to really do this job. It's really learning on the go, and I just appreciate all the years of wisdom, that when we sit here, we absorb it, and, we're voices for the people, but, I just really appreciate the experience and the wisdom and the mentorship over these years, and I look forward to continue to pass that down, serving another term.
You just touched on exactly what I've been thinking about, that it's hard to come in here as a newbie and not know anything and be scared. And all of you have been so welcoming and open to questions, and not only servants' hearts, but educators' hearts too, and willing to share your knowledge and teach us. And I want everybody who's listening in the community just to know how much people here care about doing the right thing for the community and the city, and I can say that so honestly, and that's such a good place to be on a city council like that. And when I say it's an easy council to serve on, because I have every confidence in people that are in the administration and the people on council. I'm grateful for that, and so thank you all. I think my last thought was just looking at how many years of experience are leaving us from even Becky and Craig and Dennis and all you guys. Like, it's incredible. It's really big shoes to fill. Thinking of what next year is going to look like, every year is exciting, but thank you for everything you've done for us and have left us in such a good place.
So now it's my turn. I just want to thank everyone for, these last 12 years on council, and it's been a great learning period. We've really done some great things in the city, and it all starts with Mayor Klein and the administration and everything that they have done to make our city a better city. And I'm really looking forward to moving from this side of the bench over to that side of the bench, but it's really big shoes to fill. And I just really, over these last couple of weeks, we've been doing a lot of transitioning, a lot of learning. And I want to thank Dave and Jill and Mike and Megan and Molly and everybody for all their guidance. And it's been a wonderful experience so far, and we thank you all for that. But this council has really been just so great to work with. Everybody brings something different to the table, unique ideas, and that's exactly what Tallmadge is. I mean, we really represent the city, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you. And thank you for everything that we've done over these last years.
Mrs. Stritch?
Well, based upon how long we've been here, I just want to clear the record that I started when I was 10, because I can't be that old. First of all, I just have to say that I am so truly, truly blessed to have worked this many years for the city, to have known so many people from so many different backgrounds, learned from so many different people, and they've enriched my life. And I hope and pray that all of you continue to just do the best you can. And we're all public servants. It takes a special type of person to do that. And whether you're working for the city of Tallmadge or you're an elected official, I think we'll all continue to move forward and help others. And I just pray for all of us to have good health. And some of you are like family to me. And I'll still be around. So that's all. And I just want to thank you all because you've just made such a wonderful difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think it comes down to me. So sat here with all of you folks. I've sat with so many different councils. You truly are professional at what you're doing. As one of my mentors, which is Mayor Paul Wierzinski, always said, what is your legacy that you're going to leave when you walk out of office? Well, I said, I don't think I'm ever walking out. I still don't know if I'm going to walk out. So, Carol, that chair might still be full when you come back, but no. You got the back door, the secret. But I truly appreciate us working for the citizens of Tallmadge, and that's really what it's all about. We're here as servants to the 18,326 folks that we are all working for. And as long as you keep that in mind, you'll do fine. You're here for them, not just to build your own self up. I have attended 1,623 council meetings in my tenure here at the city. I did that calculation. That doesn't include the planning, zoning, heritage, and all the other meetings. But I do it because I love the city, and I truly believe the city of Tallmadge. I'm born and raised here, been here 66 years, and continue to stay here, continue to plan to stay here. But really the assets of the city of Tallmadge is the city employees that we have. We have the top-notch, the best employees that makes our jobs easier. So it's easy for us to sit here and give them guidance, but they're the rock of the community, and they are truly what makes us and makes Tallmadge really what we are. When you got the service department that you drive down our roads and it's the best roads we ever have. You have a water department that's out with 5 water main breaks in the last 2 weeks, working all hours of the night without complaining, getting it done so we could turn our faucets on in the morning. You have the police department keeping us safe all hours of the day, no matter what. Fire department is out there to help us medically, fires, whatever, but all departments. Then you have our administration. I mean, our building downstairs, the building department with Elaine's guidance, and I'm not saying that because you're sitting here, but it is truly transformed into a top-notch department. So it is hard to walk away, but I'm going to walk away. My wife's here. It's my family that's here. She actually made it to a council meeting. She's been to other council meetings before, I know, but it's time she's let me dedicate my life to the city of Tallmadge. Now it's time to really take care of my family and dedicate with the grandkids and see them a little bit more. That'll be for the first month. Then after that, I will be back. But to Dennis Lowry, him and I have been friends going for a long time. I know we went through some hard times this last couple of months, but truly you are a friend, and I hope we can get back to that friendship that we had in the past and continue to move forward. We had a lot of good times playing on the golf course and playing in the water down on the ocean somewhere, so we continue to do that. Becky, your dad was the true mentor and taught you very well. And I'm happy for you, for your next chapter in your lives. And Craig, we've had our differences, but we've also had our good times, and you are truly had your heart in with the finance, and you kept, look at our finances. We were $11 million unencumbered, thanks to your dedication and your help, and all of you guys. Adam working at the, changing from the community center or the rec center into the council. It's not an easy task to do, but you did it, and you did it well. Jonathan, tell your dad I want to work with him on the boat down in Portage Lakes. Jonathan's father and I were on the Amex together and did a lot of meetings together, so he taught you well how to do that. And Mary, great job. You do a good job for your constituents, and I'm very proud of you coming on the council for the first time, asking a lot of great questions and doing a lot of good things. And then Carol, it's not, seems like yesterday we were out as a women's auxiliary serving coffee to us firemen out in the middle of the night, and she would be out there with my wife and Carol serving coffee in the middle of the night, and now you look where you came from, or made it up too. So congratulations. I promised each one of you, I still have my cell phone number. Give me a call. I will help you out. If you have a water problem or a ditch problem, please don't hesitate to call me, and I'll be around.
Yeah, I think Sue doesn't want me to call you like after 5 o'clock, though.
My phone's always on. I will sleep with it, continue with it, but congratulations to all of you on your next endeavor and your next council. Sue, thanks.
Thank you. Are we done? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
And
you.
Molly's watching, so Molly, good job.
Thank you. Good job, Molly.
So Mrs. Burton, please call the roll.
Craig Ciesick,
Yes.
Becky Allman.
Yes.
Jonathan Bolus.
Yes.
Adam Bozick,
Yes.
Mary Gepman,
Yes.
Carol Kilway.
Yes.
Dennis Lowry.
Yes, it is 8:45. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see everyone, well, we'll see some of you on January 10th at 6:30. We are adjourned, 8:45.
Thank you.